Love to have been an MC, you know. Has got zero lyrics. All right, so today's guests on the show are two guys that grew up together. As a couple of pals have been through more than most friends will have been through in their lives, believe me. From being at the top of the game in music to the depths of drug addiction and prison, one of them hitting both ends of the spectrum while the other watched and supported through both good and bad times. After a really bad time a few years ago, one of my guests, thank God he managed to turn his life fully around, and with the help of his friend has managed to write a book about the experiences they have shared across the last 40 odd years as mates, brothers, not even mates, it's beyond mates. One name you'll definitely know, the other maybe not, but after reading the book myself I've realised that without one probably you wouldn't have the other. It gives me great pleasure to welcome onto Run Come Follow Friday and Rinse FM Mr. Pete Nice and the one and only MC Flux. How you doing, guys?
Good evening. No, what am I saying? Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Very well, very well.
Good. Well, all the Crystal Palace digs, they were just jokes, you know that, innit? Yeah?
Well, you know, there's outside afterwards, you know that, don't you?
You better be a fast runner, bruv.
I don't run.
No, I'll do. You ain't catching me. All right, so listen, before we go anywhere now, we want to talk about as much as we can today, but we're on legal radio, so obviously we've got to water it down a little bit, but I'm going to put the link up after the show. So guys, if you want to hear the unedited, uncut version of the stories we'll be talking about today, then you will be able to get that in the book. But we'll talk about that in a little while. Let's go right the way back to the beginning and get a little bit of flavours from both of you guys. So Pete, let's start with you while Flux is sorting his headphones out.
Okay.
Whereabouts did you grow up? What kind of music was playing in your house as a kid growing up?
Well, growing up in Thornton Heath, a lot of the music was based around either reggae or soul. From back in them days. So we was listening a lot of going to sound systems and going to parties. We was box boys on a sound system for a couple of older guys.
Yeah.
And it was just really started from there, really.
Okay. Flux, what was going on in mum and dad's house when you was a kid? What kind of music you grew up to?
Listen, Doug's, music was very influential in my house. We always had parties. My dad had a large record selection and we had loads of parties, so there was always music flying around in my house, so I was like influenced by a lot of music through my dad and everything else, and there's a wide spectrum of music from Elvis to definitely Studio One, Treasure Island. That's what I first got to know about you know what I mean, like MC. Not even MCing, just reggae, ska.
Yeah.
Because I was skinhead days as well.
Yeah, my dad was a skinhead in Jamaica.
Right, okay.
Original skinhead. And I, being born in the country, I became a rude boy. I was a rude boy. So, strong influence.
Yeah. So when you was at school, I mean, did you want to be a musician when you left school, or what was the kind of? Was you a sporty kid, or was you a naughty kid, or a sporty and a naughty kid?
I was everything. You know what? You know what? It speaks for itself why most people are MCs or they are DJs. We are attention seekers in our own rights. Yeah. So you can tell that, I was part of that sort of like that gang.
So even from a kid, you was always like the loudest, the centre of attention. Always up for a dare. It's like Fluxy would do
everything. Fluxy would do it. Flux up for a laugh. Flux will go over there. Flux will take the girl around the back of the shed. Sorry, the water shed.
So how did you guys meet? I mean, how long have you known each other? What age did you meet? How did you meet?
It was about 1985. We done a YTS. We was on YTS doing engineering. I think it was.
I've done plumbing YTS. 30 quid a week.
£25.
Well, you're older than me.
Wait for you outside.
What am I doing to myself here? Yes, sorry.
Mate. So it's like YTS, but even still, like everybody hang about in Croydon Whitgift Centre. So like everybody sort of knew each other.
Yeah,
was associates, and I think I went to some girl I was seeing at the time brought me around to his house. And like we just started from then, really. Okay. I used to knock for him about 11 o'clock to go Croydon to go hang out and that, and he'd be ready by 5. So, and the same thing carried on like all through the
it's
all
like that today, picking him up today. Yeah. All right. So leaving school, I mean, was it reggae music that you was into as teenagers, or was there other musics that influenced you through them years?
We would say, what I would personally say, definitely reggae was always in our heart because obviously Jamaican-born descendants from our parents. Yeah, the reggae's there. It's just there. So like definitely the British soul music was a strong influence during growing up.
Nice,
the early
yeah,
80s.
places like that we used to go. Yeah.
Even you know, the soul music, hip hop at its time. Any sort of like you could say like
Body popping, wasn't it? Break dancing music.
yeah.
You both break dancers?
Oh, body poppers.
Yeah.
I could break.
Yeah, I gave it a try.
Who's the bone breaker, not the break dancer?
I was at
Spinning on his head.
I used to go at Covent Garden thinking I was something.
Yeah.
There used to be a crew called Zulu Rockers, and I thought I could get in this crew. And they were like, they used to have another crew called Sidewalk, and I thought, but it all fell flat.
Yeah, you roll up there with your lino under your arm, looking for a little go.
So we went back to reggae.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a bit calmer on the dance moves over there.
I'll go back to reggae.
Yeah. So Radix, 1984, 85 times.
Yeah.
You guys was the youngsters in the crew when it first came. I mean, who was in Sir Radix when you first joined?
Well,
Box Boys?
I was there as a schoolboy before we met like Rodney, and so we used to bring their boxes, and we was only like 13, 14 at the time, and we had to lift in these heavy boxes for him at the record box. And we brought, when I started hanging around with him, that's when we brought him in, and I went from there. Then you had another sound, didn't you? You brought up,
we decided to, we learnt from Sir Radix, and we said, you know what, some of us can chat a bit, and some of us can select a bit. And I was actually a selector.
Yes, that's
and
right.
And it's really vice versa here, because this guy was the lyrical guy of the MC.
Well, let's talk about his MC name first. Let's get down a little bit. MC Spongy, yeah?
Spongy Irie.
Spongy Irie. Yeah. So, why Spongy Irie?
There was a kid in school, at my school, called Paul Batchel, and he used to do it with my hair, like ruffle my hair, because I had a big afro back then.
Yeah.
And he used to say it's like a sponge, and that's where it came from. Spongy, I just kept it.
MC Spongy. So, Spongy, Pete was the MC, and you was selecting the rhythm back then.
Yeah, back then, and we didn't just put it together just like that. We did it properly.
Yeah.
We decided to say, look, if we're going to make a sound system, we're going to make a Ute Man sound system, and we'll do everything. We're going to cut dub plates, we're going to have specialised MCs and everything else. And we, if we must say, we done really pretty well for ourselves.
Yeah.
We moved up for the rankings very quickly. People took notice of us. In South London, definitely.
Yeah. So this was Young Senator was the
Young
name
Senator.
of the sound. Yeah. And was you clashing other sounds and stuff?
Oh yeah, we were, people would say disagree to agree, we were battering sounds.
Yeah.
We were just, because musically we were cutting dub, we were spending money. The amount of more money you spend, the more you better sounds.
Yeah.
We weren't playing regular music, we were playing dub plates.
Yes.
Yeah, don't get us wrong, we weren't on a level like Saxon, Coxon or anything like that. But
under that level,
Championship.
we
Premier.
That's right.
We done it properly. Everything was done properly. The noise box effects were properly. The music's done properly. The MC was done properly. And it was that time, we done it properly, and we battered sounds.
Who was the rival sound in South London in them? They're looking at each other.
With us, we had Shakedown Massive was one.
Yeah.
They didn't turn up.
They didn't turn up.
You had them run, yeah?
We had a free clash thing, and then we battered them to death.
And then we got in with Quadraphonic, and we can't remember the other song because
they turned off.
TK Massive.
Yeah.
And then we went to Peckham.
I can't remember that sound either.
Yeah, but Peckham at that time, people don't know Peckham Estate and everything else. It was like, it's a bit territorial, it's quite rough.
Bit roughneck, yeah.
So we went tooled up. We went, everything was like, you got that. Yeah, we got that, you got that. Yeah, let's go.
Well, it's only him that wanted to row. You know what I mean? We just wanted to play. We just thought it was like a insurance
Flux,
thing.
I'm not having that. No way. Not quite little Flux over there. He didn't want to row, surely. Let's say that. All right, so let's talk about fashion for a minute in them times, because fashion's always been a big part of, especially I know for you, Pete, you always, on point with the fashion. Them mid-80s times, what were people rocking in them days? What was the...
Fila, Tashini, all the Pringles and Farrah's,
Gabici, Lois,
it was everything, and the trainers as well.
Lacoste.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was as important as the music back then, really, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, we won't lie. Our crew, we dressed good, and everything else.
Unprofessional, Fluxy.
we just good.
Yeah.
We made sure that clothes had to come first to look good, for reasons why.
Yeah.
You dress good, you look good, and then
girls are like
The
it.
girls follow. Yeah.
End of story.
It was funny. I was talking to Mickey Finn yesterday. He was like, "Doug, you need to go and get some aqua scooter and all that." And just when they come in the studio, I'll be rocking that. They'll be like, "Oh, my man's come deep." So, all right. So, Flux. Let's get to where did that name come from? We found out about Spongy, Pete Nice. Where did the name Flux come from, mate?
At school, my high school, they just called me the slickster because I used to be slicking into this and slicks that. And somebody just said slick like Flux.
That was
And
it.
it just stuck out because I was I used to be like a little wind-up merchant, troublemaker, in and out, stick in, stick out. That was me, just a wind-up merchant. The game for a laugh.
You wouldn't believe it, Pete, with that angel face, would you? Over there? You just wouldn't believe it.
The thing is as well, growing up back then, everybody sort of like had a nickname.
Yeah.
Whether it was they brought it on or other people like their mates and that brought it on. So
Yeah.
everybody had a nickname, and that's how like with the sound system it just followed through.
I think you find it's normally your mates that bring on your nickname because
Yeah.
otherwise you give yourself a decent, nice one. And,
Yeah,
and then
that's
your
right.
mates just cane you and cane you, and in the end that becomes your name.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. But you'd be surprised what sort of other names you get.
Yeah, we can't mention them ones on the radio. All right, so as the 80s rolled on, you got into your soul sounds a little bit more.
Yeah.
Who and what, who and showed you the way? What was it about the kind of soul thing of the?
That was a weird one because when I wrote it in the book, we went from the reggae to the soul, like the rare groove kind of thing, because the sound sort of like started falling flat on its face. We had some troubles with police going on, and people like I was on bail at one point.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get onto we couldn't get out, and then the sounds was breaking down.
Yeah.
So we just decided, well, our mate Face, Terry, he decided that we should do something else, and that's when we
It
started.
was all getting a bit hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit London. Because obviously that time we stayed around out in the area, our own borough, Walters Croydon, doing our own thing. And Terry, Face, said, "Look, why don't we just start going uptown?"
Yeah.
I started venturing, and that was the idea. And then we started to venture other clubs, other things, and see other things. And it opened our eyes.
Valentino's in Tottenham.
Yeah, so I was going to say the LWR party.
Yeah,
in
that's
Tottenham.
what we used to follow them a lot.
Daddy Ernie, Zach, Jasper
Yeah.
Final Junkie, DJ Elaine, who I know had a little soft spot with you guys. Yeah. So yeah, gossips and trends. I mean, what kind of tunes? I'm trying to keep the soundtrack behind. I mean,
we can hear it.
Pete chose the sound. I said to him, "Send me a couple tunes." He sent me 50 tunes. So I sat there for about 3 hours yesterday and took like a minute or two out of each tune you sent me and built a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So as we move through the talk, we'll be hearing.
That's what it's actually doing. It's like a soundtrack through the book anyway.
I'm trying to keep that. I'm trying to keep that. So,
Excellent.
what kind of tunes would we have been hearing in gossips, trends? Them times there.
James Brown, Jackson Sisters, there's all that, isn't it? Maceo and Max.
What you're hearing, what you're playing now, really.
Yeah. This kind of stuff. Yeah.
And who was the mover and groover out of the crew? Who had
Do
the
you know
best
what?
moves?
Do you know what? The moving the groove of the crew is the two people who you're going to have in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
Them guys can dance.
But do you know, funny, 'cause I was going to ask you about Groove in a little while, but let's talk about him now for a minute, because I interviewed him 2 weeks ago, I think, or 2-3 weeks ago, whatever, and even Fabio was saying Groove had the moves back
guy,
then.
seriously, the guy.
He could dance, man.
Do you know what? You know, everybody knows. If you don't know Groove, then Groove's a very confident person, but this guy can dance.
Yeah.
And he's the one that played this song. Well, we first heard this song as well. This Mother
Electric
of the
Ballroom,
Future.
man, when the man started to bust through, you just have to
Yeah.
you keep up or you step back.
Yeah.
But of our little crew, I was the best one, I think.
Yeah.
I'm joking. We was just arguing that all the time.
Well, it's funny because when Groove was up, he was saying even like a couple of weeks before, Fabio said Groove phoned me up and said, "I've invented this new move for the day." Like he's still doing it now, So all right, look, we're going to talk about Groove in a little while, because I know he was playing on Phase, and you guys didn't even know it was the person you were listening
That's
to.
right,
But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk a little bit about Ambassadors, another club in Houston.
Yeah.
Jazzy M was playing it. It was like your early introduction to house music.
right,
Tell us a little bit about Ambassadors and who and what was going on down there in them times.
Well, as I said, like we're following LWR. I mean, we just wanted to go for a boogie, so
Yeah.
and we just followed where the main DJs we listened to on the Pirates.
Yeah.
And just taking it there. So like it was that jacking groove that they used to have at the time.
Yeah.
Like Still Silk Curly and things like that.
Yeah, exciting time for music.
Yeah,
back
well,
then.
yeah, it was. Yeah, and our
groundbreaking.
whole fashion sort of like changed as well. Like we started wearing the DMs.
I was gonna.
the-
That was my next thing. What was the
Yeah.
fashion back then? Because I know the reggae fashion ain't working in.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean, Flux would say that he was getting more of the girls because like we had that ragga. He was pulling off that ragga sort of style, but No, you had to go slick. We started the Funky Dreads.
Yeah.
And that following Soul to Soul, which they started to come about that time as well.
Yeah, so they was doing the Africa Centre.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember Soul to Soul coming on the scene probably a little bit after you guys, because I wasn't in the thick of it like we usually were. But I used to go to the shop in Camden, buy my clothes down there and whatnot. So they was very important and influential as well on the UK culture back then. What was it like seeing them, burst onto the scene as a UK act? Yeah, they took over the country, Soul to Soul.
They did. Really when they became the act, I think it was more getting into the acid house anyway. But like, we still remember them from going Africa Centre. So
I mean, going there and actually seeing them grow from like a sound system to what they are, and to be privileged to be part of it, because we were there from the beginning, and we had our hair as
the same as them.
We done everything the same as them. And going to all the places they go, not just the regular place in Covent Garden. Everywhere they played, we went to and promoted. So to be part of seeing that was just like great.
But it wasn't just them as well. It was Norman J, even Colin Dale back then as well.
Yes. Paul Trouble Anderson.
Yeah, Paul Trouble Anderson.
Yeah, them guys were setting trend back then. From early. Another venue and another night that I know is important to you guys and to the evolution of music, Babylon at Heaven on a Thursday night. I mean, let's talk about that for a minute, because everyone's always, we'll talk about Rage in a minute, but it's like Babylon never really gets spoken about, because everyone from our world of rave
just knew
quick
Rage.
to talk about Rage. So a little bit of, as soon as I mention it, I see you two guys like, wow.
Because it's kind of new to us as well, wasn't it? Because we was following around, but we just had one essential place now that we could go to and hear
what we wanted to hear. Do you know when you actually, there's a pinnacle in your life when you go somewhere, and then every week you're gonna have that goosebumps, and you think this is it. You found the place where you want to be,
home.
And for me personally, that was Babylon. It just blew my mind.
Who were the DJs at Babylon?
I was trying to think. It was the jazz guy. It was on
Giles Peterson.
Giles was there. I think Colin Dale was still playing there early as well.
Colin Favor.
Well, we didn't know that. There's a lot of the time, like as I detailed in the book, we would go places after following LWR. We weren't so much listening to what DJ was playing. We just started knowing what the places were. You know what I mean? Like the clubs that we needed to go.
Yeah.
So we weren't really like concentrating. We was playing in there still. But music was
because plus we still had that reggae sort of ragga look about us.
Yeah.
So we weren't easy approachable.
Yeah.
We went with these smiley faces and we was doing like mean face, but little move here and there, and a wink of an eye.
Yeah.
I could still do a little move here, but I could ragga which one look mean and put the dark glasses back on again.
And there's always that in it. The paper slipped into your hand. Like, phone number.
So it was like that. So we wasn't the most easiest of guys to approach, but we if you didn't know us, we were cool. Because we were loud as well, we were very obnoxious. You think, those guys again. Got a lot of that.
The reason you would have been like that, let's talk a little bit about it without sort of glorifying it. It was violent, racist times we was living in back then, and it wasn't easy for black guys growing up in London with the police, National Front and stuff like that going on. And I know you had run-ins with both over the years, so. Yeah, that's why your guard would have been up, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was.
But you know what? For me personally, and I can say for Peter, for most of us, I always had a wide range of friends anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't just black friends. It had a load of range of friends because I was always into football from a very early age. And do you know what? Personally, I liked it then. And people will say, well, that sounds controversial. I'll tell you why. At least when somebody was saying a racist thing, they'll say direct. Now people will talk to you, so you can't see it coming. So that's how people call it institutionalized. You just can't see it coming. So to me, I found it more better to deal with them days. You know where to go, you know where you're at, you where you stand with somebody.
You know what places where you didn't go.
Yeah. You where to avoid. If you go there, something might happen. Or something will happen, or you're going to look for something to happen. Yeah. So So it didn't really.
You're the first person I've ever spoke to. First I've ever heard that explained like that. I've never heard someone come with that kind of.
Yeah, it didn't bother me because you know what, I don't watershed. I like people say call a spade, meaning like if you don't like someone, say it.
Yeah.
there's no point beating around the bush and say blah 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 blah. That's the sort of person I am. I mean, I'm not.
I suppose pretending's worse than.
Anybody can shout. Shouting doesn't bother me because everybody. That's the most thing to me as a black person. To me, black people like be loud. You think you'll be scared. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
The bad walk, the hip walk doesn't bother me. I like to stay low. When you finish, I'm still standing there, geezer. It doesn't bother me. I'm still gonna be standing there. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not condoning what I'm saying because, like I said,
how it was back then.
It's how I used to be.
Yeah.
Things have all changed now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, I know. We're gonna talk about it. It's been a big change for you over the last few years,
definitely.
especially, which we'll get to. All right, so Acid House. Let's talk about Acid House for a minute. A little bit of De La Soul in the background there.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to talk about that in a minute as well. Don't worry. I know you got it on lock, you two there. Why did you get into Acid House? Because, you know, when you listen to the music of reggae and soul and Acid House is kind of over there on its own, like some devil music on its own over there. So how, you know, what was the link between getting you from soul and reggae?
It was
to
funny
Acid
because
House?
we like from the Rare Groove, like we was meeting different girls and they was introducing us to different things. But we was always hearing about this Acid House thing. Like, you got to come to the trip, and like we was like, no, we was always still finding the dance wickeds to go and like have a boogie and that. I think we ended up someplace by accident. I put in the book that we was driving back from. So I said we had arguments with the girlfriends we had at the time and left. Went to Kennington. We see Pin.
Yeah, Pin. I've got that written down here. Yeah.
Yeah, the flyers. We go, there's a party around the corner. So we just went in there. It was still funky dreads, red grooved up and everything. And we went in there and it was like,
damn, what's this? Like, you know, you're just standing there like Homer Simpson face.
Things like that.
Well, it ain't even just the music, it's the people and obviously the drug culture that went with it,
Yeah.
which you wouldn't have seen before.
Yeah,
right.
most definitely, because back then it was just like, you know, the Rizla and everything else, and people were more like wide-eyed and everything else, so we didn't really quite catch why everybody was so happy and why they were like, so it was sort of like, wow, what is going on here? No, it wasn't wow, it was a major wow.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Nothing had ever been like that before. You know,
That's
before it
nothing.
was
So
very
you- so you-
hostile. You held your corner with your
That's
pals.
what I'm trying to
and
say.
you looked after your corner.
Yeah, and then when you go to see from that and you go to see another thing, everybody like wants to get to know you, talk to you happy, the wide eye, you want to know why they're like that.
I bet when they were coming up and saying hello, he was like, what's my man want?
Right, straight away, because
It's a setup.
especially when they're trying to hug you as well.
because it's true. I mean, anybody's seen, and it is absolutely true. And when it got that in to a pin, you know, that film. If people see Rise of the Foot Soldiers, or someone when they first go and they go trying to hug, what's that? You see people everywhere. You think, what's going on?
Yeah.
It was like that. We just didn't understand. We couldn't comprehend what was going on at that very time. But it was so interesting and so like, wow, we got to get some of this.
By the time we left, we was all over it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk Cling Street then, because I know that was a place where it really, you know, sucked you in quite a bit down there. Loads of dodgy faces down there.
Always,
people you would have recognised from football that you might have been kicking off with on another weekend. You was friends with in the club.
Like I said before, I mean, it's not like were you the faces?
Yeah.
From clubs. Well, I did. Whether they you us doesn't really matter. But yeah, we're thinking, there's some faces in there.
Yeah.
There's some, you know what I mean? This
The naughty people would have been.
Yeah,
there.
of course. Because back then in the 80s, if he was involved
You know
at
the
his
faces,
time, you know the faces. It was like celebrity at that time.
Yeah.
You knew the firms, you knew the faces.
Yeah.
So you knew what to do, when to do it. Because I was involved in it, I knew anyway.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So we knew.
So it must have been quite weird, sort of knowing that, you know, we'd be sitting opposite each other, and last week you would have been toe to toe.
Yeah.
And in the club, you're kind of spudding each other and like kind of. Was it like that?
I wouldn't say not just then there. It's still clicky then. I think later on.
Yeah.
Would you say?
I'll say that there was people in there that I would come up to you, they'll start speaking to you, and I'll think, and then you'll be talking about music and that, and just having a drink, and you think, what you had tonight, and like, then they say you're such and such from Tottenham, or you're such and such from Luton, kind of thing, and like, it's like, so I didn't know you was involved in all that, and that kind of conversation.
Do you remember when we had that blah 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 blah? Yeah.
Something that the government could never do. See, Little Nick was a little tiny little night out, and it solved the world's problems at the time. Definition of a track: the back room. Big influence, massive tune. What was it about that tune that stood out? Because I know that was something that captured you guys.
It's the reggae kind of, that deep bass. You can hear it now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just there.
Everyone's doing the same thing.
Just there, innit?
I'm just nodding my head. You're talking, I'm not even listening to you. I'm just nodding my head.
I'm not even listening to me, and I'm saying it. That a big tune, though. A big tune.
It's different as well, isn't it? Because like you had the more acid house thing, and you had this that come on through it, and you're like, whoa.
It's got a bit of a groove to it, kind of. Yeah. How long did it take you to get your head around the music and the people? Because it ain't something you don't go to a rave the first time and come out a raver kind of thing. It takes a minute to adjust.
I think we still even went back to Rare Groove at the time, I think, like by the Christmas. But from the first rave we went, we met a couple of girls in there.
Yeah.
And they kept on banging on about Sunrise, and we was like, it was kind of filled.
Come on, be truthful.
Yeah, ain't camping.
There's always, when we jump from one scene to another, it's always partly to do with girls.
Yeah. Reading the book. Why don't that surprise me?
Taking us from one scene to another.
Yeah.
Because one of us will be following and go, come over here. And then, you know, we're not asking no questions,
Like
you're just running.
The old shiny keys in front of the face.
Yeah. It's just easy as that. Flash a bit of leg, you come.
So Sunrise, we'll talk about Sunrise for a minute. Big party for you guys. 25 quid in them times, which was a lot of dough to pay to go anywhere. You'd go on holiday for that in them days. 20th of May 1989, Santa Pod, Once in a Blue Moon.
Yeah.
First Sunrise you went to. You know, tell us a bit more about your experience
Well,
that
it's
night.
mad because like the girls that we met, they told us. So I got the ticket. I thought, I'll just give it a go, innit? And where was it? Santa Pod was.
Yeah.
And, like, it was driving down, and we like had to go through like fields and that to park up. And it's just getting in there. It was just the whole thing. Like, you know, you didn't know because you didn't know the address till the last minute. You thought, this is probably a stitch up or something.
Yeah.
And you get there, and the warehouse, and you just walk in there, and then it's just mad. The lights, everything. It's just as soon as you walk in there.
Yeah, again, the way I said about Babylon, it's like that.
It felt like you come home.
You thought there was a spaceship coming down. you thought it was on another planet. Like I said, people who don't understand wasn't there. It's hard to be able to comprehend what we're trying to say. It's a different form of movement altogether.
And it weren't even the drugs then either, innit?
It was just people. It was just
the people, the atmosphere, everything.
The music, the vibe, the happiness. To know that there was so many people there, and you know there ain't going to be one piece of trouble apart from love and unity.
Yeah.
Between all different sort of like cultures.
Yeah.
That's what was the breakdown barrier, and people keep hyping up on it. You see it on film, see everything. If you wasn't there, you ain't gonna comprehend because it was that beautiful. People come and hug you, want to get to know you, kiss you. To me, drag you over some film.
Behind the haystack.
You read the book.
Some people just can't help themselves, though. You know?
Yeah. No, but it's true. That was, I mean, when I went to my first rave, same as you guys, I didn't really know what to expect, and it just blew me away that there was X amount of thousand people all on one level. It didn't matter whether you was successful at work, unemployed, whether you was a thief, whether you was a baller, whether you was black, white, Chinese. It didn't matter.
That was it.
Didn't matter.
That was the whole thing.
And it was a beautiful thing. You've explained it really well there, Flux. You know, it was.
Well, that's what it was. It was something special that's always going to hold something deeply in people who experience it in your heart. And it's a shame that people who, you know, if you only read it or hear about it, you're going to thinking, maybe you're putting your own spin on it, but it was like that. And hopefully, you know, other generation would experience something like that again.
Yeah.
I hope anyway.
I mean, this tune here as well, this thing that they've done when they started clamping down on it.
Yes.
That just summed it up. The amount of people that come to Trafalgar Square for it.
So it's funny because I always know because it was on my birthday, 27th of January 1990, Trafalgar Square. Was you guys at the demo? Or?
No, we didn't go to the demo then because I think we started hitting South Coast more, so we was...
Of course, which we're going to get to in a little minute. Changed your life forever when you first indulged in what was going on around that time outside of music and stuff. You know, we're not glamorising it, but the truth is the truth. The ecstasy culture swept the country. Sunrise was a massive thing to you guys, I know. White Wolfen was another one, June 89. Tell us a little bit about how the night would sort of unfold with meeting points and the journey and the madness outside of the actual rave.
I think that was the best thing about it because there's always me and Face that always organised the where would we going kind of thing at that time. And we'll sort the tickets. There was people in Battersea that we knew that we'd get us tickets or we'd go and meet, and they told us about, you have to meet at the Windmill Pub in Clapham.
Yeah.
And like when you see the thousands of cars there was other meeting points, but we always went to the Windmill.
Because we're south of the river,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And like it was just like cars everywhere, music blaring, like all waiting for a number to come through and say the party's here, and then everyone just
Full of every cars,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
and
just
the place
seems
left
so
with
mad.
tumbleweeds. That's how it's
Yeah.
like.
I mean, God knows what it's like over East London, because obviously, that's the centre point where everything was coming out from.
Yeah.
But over South London was crazy, so God knows what other boroughs were like. I can just imagine what East London was like.
Yeah.
It must have been mad.
It just seems so mad because everything's so organised now. You know, we've all got
Yeah.
used to. You put a party on and it's all like military planning now.
Right.
But back then it was like they'd done the military planning without anyone knowing.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
right.
Everyone else was running around like headless chickens
Exactly.
until they got the number.
Yeah.
Best times though, man.
Yeah.
It was,
Exciting.
it was.
Yeah.
So exciting. Clapham Common after the parties as well. I want to talk a little. I mean, we mentioned the De La Soul thing a bit there. You know, tell the people why the De La Soul I Know and Say No Go was so important to use.
Well,
Go on, Pete.
that's what it was. It was because we was coming back from the White Wolf at the time.
Yeah.
And we just went there to chill out. There was a firm of girls that we knew from over that way, and we was going round there to see if there was going to be after. Well, I think they said to go over there after, but we was like
We didn't look, at that time we wasn't really experimenting with a lot of drugs
Yeah.
at all.
We're
So
gonna-
we looked quite hip, we looked quite cool.
Yeah.
And there's a camera crew there and they said, come over here, you guys look really good for what you're wearing. And look, do you want to do the video? De La Soul Say No Go. We said, do we what? Is my name Carl? So they filmed us, and we done a video.
we forgot about it though. That's the
for
thing.
De La
We
Soul.
completely forgot
And
about
when it
it.
was on Top of the Pops and De La Soul and
Yeah.
everything else, we're like movie stars. The phone's going on.
See, you see on top of the box.
So you should imagine what we were like then after that. But we're movie stars, you know what I mean?
There's a freeze like a photo in the book.
Yeah, that's
before
right, yeah,
you guys.
yeah.
So it was used too. Who was the other two in the photo?
Face and Killer.
And a guy called
Yeah,
TJ.
Yeah.
That
alright.
TJ. No,
Yeah.
TJ wasn't there. Was TJ in it? I don't think TJ
No,
was there.
sorry,
at the time.
TJ wasn't there. Sorry, it's Face
Yeah.
Killer.
Me and him,
Pete,
yeah.
Yeah.
Stu Say No Go to
Colin.
De La Soul, and it
Yeah.
was a massive video, massive thing. It was us lot, and it was like, for that time, there was no mobile phones at that time. It was just like,
Ringing off the house.
House
phone.
phone.
yeah. Top of the Pops was like the prime.
Because even the music was starting to get through as well on
Yeah.
there, so you'd
Yeah,
always
yeah.
watch
Yeah.
it. So
Okay, so we mentioned Groove a minute ago. Disco Kid, Groove
Yeah,
Rider,
Groove Rider,
Phase
Disco
Radio.
Kid.
It was around this time that you found out that the guy you knew as Ray
yeah,
was Groove Rider,
Yeah.
even though you knew of Groove Rider and Ray as two different entities.
That's right.
You put them together at a friend's house. I
Yeah.
mean, how mad was that? Find out that this guy was
it was
the top
mad
boy.
because the house we used to go, a lot of people used to go in there to get the tickets for the raves.
Yeah.
And like we'd already had tickets, but I only went there by chance just because a younger lot that started following us. We just went there to see if I could get any more.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, what are you saying, Pete? And I was like, talking to him. So he was saying, Ray, I said, what's happening? He said he's going to this rave or whatever it was, because there was a rave on a Friday night, but we was just sitting in the pub because we was looking forward to the rave the next day. And now he just started talking, and he said, yeah, I'm playing down here. Like, I said, which one's you? He goes, Groove Rider. I go,
What?
we got all this time. I said, I've had this tape. Phase 1, do you know what I mean? Just started like that. He probably won't even remember that because as
It's
a
just
DJ,
normal to him. Yeah,
to
yeah.
him as a DJ. But
Yeah.
I just knew him as Ray. Stretton Ray. Do you know what I mean?
Coming down to Croydon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicking
Yeah.
out girls. And that. Him, Danny and Paul.
That's mad though, isn't it? What a small world.
I know.
A small world. All right, well, back to the party. Life-changing experience for you guys. Sunrise and Back to the Future, Longwick, August 89. What was it about this actual event? Because you'd been to others,
Yeah.
this was the night that kind of you were in fully.
Weird. I don't know. I've tried to explain it in the book how it felt, but I had to go back there. And there's a lot of the thing. It was the tunes. There's a couple of tunes that played that night. There was Sydney
Yeah.
Youngbloods.
Yes.
There
if only
was
I could.
I can't remember what the other one's called.
Sueno
I'll put it on there.
Latino.
Sueno Latino. And there's one other, Howard,
Howard Jones. Is it Howard Jones?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that tune there.
My mind's gone blank. Yeah, that's on
That's on the
coming,
list
That's
that's
coming
in
soon.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was them tunes there, and I think our mate TJ there at the time started hugging us.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
When Sydney Youngblood was on, and it was just that. It was just kind of like that middle of the night thing, and then when the sun come up, Sueno Latino. That's the only way I could describe it in the book. Is the
was a
three
moment.
tunes through the night that just had that
Yeah.
moment for you,
Yeah.
for all of us.
All right, so Thatcher's Britain back then. It was hard times, young entrepreneurs, you know, starting to learn how to earn a not so legal pound note around that time as well. I'm trying to put this in legal radio terms. How hard was it to resist the temptation of what was going on around you? It's so hard to talk about and not talk about.
I mean, just keep it watershed. It's very hard. I mean,
people just coming up to you.
I mean, when you're like, well, I'm a confident person anyway. So when you see what's going around you, you're thinking, hang on a minute, I can do that.
Yeah.
And you clock on very quick. So I learn. I'm a guy who learns.
Street guys as well.
I'm street. Yeah. So I learn as I watch. If I see someone else do something,
some of us were taking offence to it at first because it was ridiculous. The people just, you got any? You got.
Yeah.
No.
But then it just felt like that. And then obviously, you want to have a bit more cash in your pocket. So you learn, you seem to learn, you pick up very quickly how to put money in your pocket.
Yeah.
And there's other influences as well.
And it's how far up the ladder you're willing to take and what chances you're willing to take.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, we're going to say, if you want to hear about the chances and the risks these lot were willing to take, you have to get the book.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to talk too much about it because we're where we are. But
and we don't want to condone anything either.
It's not, but the truth is the truth and it's in the book and it's quite a in-depth look at what was going on around in them
course.
times.
I mean,
I think we had to put it in like that, to be honest, because you just had to. I mean, like I've seen like other guys like DJs about that have been in clubs and getting approached by people asking them if they, and it's just people. It's just that kind of thing I had to describe is that people's coming up to us.
Yeah,
it's not like people was like
it wasn't pushing it.
Yeah, people
they were
was
pushing
coming
it on
up
you
to
if
us.
anything.
And I was thinking, why people keep coming up to us? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So let's move down to the South Coast for a minute now, which was a very important place and time for you guys as well. There was a few clubs. I want to talk about Mensa and Stearns, if that's all right for a minute.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Mensa. Such an important party club person in this grand scale of our music. Tell us a bit about Stearns.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, again, it's another wow changer. You heard me use that earlier on during this interview. Stearns for South Coast people was that sort of place. Anybody didn't know about Stearns? Yeah, again,
it was like the Sunrise thing
again. It's kind of hard to explain. 3 floors of
House on the Hill, man.
South Coast people from Portsmouth to Bournemouth, probably to Southampton, to all around the South Coast, from Hastings, descended on this place, in this little place in Worthing, having a good time. And all these DJs, like the likes of Groove Collingdale,
Pig Bag,
Gachet, Kenny Ken, Jumpy Jack Frost,
Rock and Vibes, everybody, Slipmat,
Ricky Finn, you name it, Slipmat, the likes of, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Descended on this one club, and it was just absolutely mind blowing. I mean, I remember I took my agent when I used to be on Unique Artists down there called Caroline, Cow, and she, my God, what is this? Because it was that 3 floors of people sending music just right, absolutely just.
Do you know, my main memory of Stearns was when I walked in, the decks were in a Beetle. I think it was the middle floor.
Yeah, that was the middle floor. Yeah,
they'd cut a Beetle in half and put the decks in the front, and I thought. I still remember it now. It's 25 years later. This is the place, mate.
And plus, as well, I'd sort of like. That's when we sort of like, not separated, but we kind of started doing other things. I was working a lot of the time, so a lot of him and the younger guys was down there more. So that's why we started hearing about these clubs in Brighton and Stearns and stuff like that.
Yeah. So MC Flux as a rave MC was kind of born around this time as well. Slammers in Gravesend with Frost, but also at Stearns, influenced by Cool and Deadly. For those who don't know who Cool and Deadly is, how did you hear about him and what was his main sort of influence over you as an MC?
As MC, he was sort of like Groove Riders MC.
Yeah.
And at that time, Groove wasn't, to me, when he was quite vocal about it, wasn't an MC guy.
He was talking about it on the show. He's still vocal about it now.
It's not.
You don't feel no way to turn a man off.
He roll with it, and for him to take on a guy, he didn't take on. Well, yeah, I think he did. But when you heard him, you way beyond his time. His timing. Do you know, like to me, the best person with timing as an MC, in my opinion, is the likes of GQ.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
His time, I'm talking about timing, knowing when to say something and knowing when to shut up.
Yeah.
At that point, that's what Cool and Deadly was like at that time.
Right.
His timing was amazing. I said, how did he learn to say that and not to say it when? So it was a strong influence on me. And yeah.
It was that tape as well we had, didn't it?
Yeah, it was just like that. It's just like, that's what Cool and Deadly was. He stood for that.
Yeah.
Cool and Deadly.
The Centre Park Portsmouth 91 tape, the Groove Rider.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Another one, Mad P as well.
Mad P was
Monty, Crystal.
His own style.
Those two blacks on our bubble. In the rave that we was trouble.
to me, the bass man of his time, like, he could just say anything and people will follow.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what comes out his mouth.
Yeah.
Because he had that style.
It's the way he said it. It wasn't what he was saying.
That's right, yeah.
You know, some people got lyrics, some people got style. Some people's style, it cuts above them. Some people just have. Doesn't matter what comes out, lyrical content comes out. It's the way they say it. It's a style.
Yeah,
Mad P's got it. Bassman's got it. It's a style. Doesn't matter what lyrical content comes out. It's the style they use, how they say it. That's what Mad P had.
Yeah, definitely. Him and Bass are very similar in that way. If you listen to what they're saying, you think these guys are mad, but you're in a rave and it works.
Because it works, because it's a style. You know, it's, most of these MCs, it's all sound the same. Can't tell the difference. Because the styles, they've got no style.
Yep. Yeah, I hear that.
That's my opinion anyway.
No, I hear that, and I'm sure many people are shouting at the radio. Yeah, you're right. To keep quiet for a minute. Right, you was headlining South Coast, Hastings, Pier, Storm and Unity. You know, you'd kind of climbed the ladder very quickly to become, especially on the South Coast, one of the key people to book at your parties. But I want to take it back to London for a minute. Well, not necessarily back to London, but the Moving Shadow link up. Cause when I first said you was coming on the show, I got a call from Sire, Too Bad Mice.
These guys.
And he was like, I got stories about Flux Dogs, but I'm not sure how many you'll be able to use on the radio. But ask me about when he went missing in LA. And I read it in the book like a week, two weeks.
I spoke to someone while I was writing it, and I was trying to get more stories, but like, I know they would have had loads of stories to tell, but that was the one that stood out for me.
Yeah.
That's all I
mean, first of all, I did the link. I played Bomb Scare earlier on.
Yeah,
because of what we're going to talk about now. So I added the link to Too Bad Mice, Playford, Shadow.
Through R.I.P. Mensa.
Yeah, they had,
I forgot the MC's name, who was associated with them.
What was in Milton Keynes? Was it Milton Keynes?
No, Pete. It was all Stearns, and basically,
no, the show was in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, and some MC there didn't turn. I forgot his name. Sorry, from me. And I got a call saying, look, Mensa, because I was regular residents at Stearns, and he goes, look, they needed an MC down there. Would you do it? And I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And it was a PA. Well, I met Si, met Rob, and I met Sean, and I PA'd it. It went down so well that these guys approached me and said, look, would you mind doing other stuff with us? And I said, would I? Do you know what I mean? And do you know, at that time, I'm not going to be funny, I didn't know too much about Moving Shadow, because I was still just MC, but not learning about the music.
Not
learning about the labels. So when I actually learned how this label was so functional and how immense it was and how grown it was, I thought, oh my God, I'm part of something here.
Yeah, they were one of the first professional outfits that come on the scene.
So professional. I mean, these guys, you know, the likes of Rob Playford. I mean, if you don't know Rob Playford, he's behind the main of Timeless Goldie's album.
Yep.
To me, the figurehead of it.
Yeah.
He's producing levels on a level to be untouched, especially now for what he's doing now.
Yeah.
And to be opened that door and shown in a professional way, and to be part of a professional setup was unbelievable. And I was privileged as a person, as drum and bass now, to be with the, to me, strongest label, untouched at that time, dominating the world. And I was part of the act.
Yeah.
Because when we got together, we knew what we were doing with Sky. It was rehearsal. You're going to do this, we're going to do that. I've never seen it. It was like a professional setup.
Yeah.
And that's how we were. It was I was part of a professional setup. And Moving Shadow, what it was world domination.
Well, that was their logo, wasn't it? Moving Shadow, world domination.
It was tours on an unbelievable level.
Yeah. So it took you around the world, you know, being with them guys.
Yeah.
God, man, 25 minutes. The time just flies so quick. I swear. I just want to talk about that for the next hour. But let's talk a bit about Internati, because the jungle thing come along. Internati was born out of that kind of era and movement. What was Internati, and who was involved with it, and what was the aim of Internati?
Just touching it quickly.
It was just us lot that got together. I think we're like from Rage, more or less. Do you know what I mean? It was me, Fluxy, Danny, Paul, and Groove Rider.
Yeah.
I think it was mainly like Danny and Paul. They had this like, because they was with Groove, so they was like sort of like his roadies. So it was them that brought us together, sort of thing. And I don't know, we just started discussing all different kinds of things. The clothing come from it. Music, other things could have come off it, but it went a certain way. It just
for one reason or another, it didn't come off it. But if you're just touching it quickly, because I know the time's moving on. The point of we coming together was, there's a certain incident. It's in the book if you want to read it.
Yes, the full man is in the book.
And like I said, a guy called Danny B sort of like came up with the name Inter, and we were formed together as Inter. And like what Peter said, we could have done this, done that. We tried something, and for one reason or another, things didn't happen.
Listen, not everything works. Yeah, it's all in the book. Anyway, right, so look, let's talk footy for a bit, because footy's been a bigger part of your life as music is. Palace fan? Favourite Palace player of all time, first of all. Let's get that out there.
Of all time,
Vince Hilaire. Vince Hilaire, yeah?
Vince Hilaire.
All right, see. Not your average fan, Flux. I would say an average fan is someone that goes to the game, has a little pint and a pie at half-time and then goes home. You was a bit more involved than that. How does that happen, Flux? How do you go from being a regular fan into fighting for your team?
If you heard what I said before from the beginning, I suffer from attention, whether it be like in the negative or positive way. I like attention. Why I became an MC. That's how I see why I got involved in football. It's attention. And being a young black guy at that time, it's attention. Because majority, I'm like a working class white world. I got a lot of attention. Didn't bother me. And at that time, I like to be a man. I think a man could be a man. If you can't hold your hands up, in my perception, it's like, what's the point of being a man? Do you know what I mean?
That as well, because like we know a lot of the guys from when Palace was White Horse Estate or South Croydon. A lot of them was older lads, or some of us are our age as well. But you kind of looked up to them because they had that certain thing about them as well. Like you see them all the good pubs and that, and like
that's all the swagger that the older man.
It's just one of them kind of things.
It was just that part of just like being, there is no such thing as not. If you either are hooligan, you're not. You can't just not be. I think because you know what you're getting involved in.
Yeah. But when it comes on top, then you find out if you are or you're not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This is what I always say. It's all right when you go and give it to somebody, but what happens when it comes to you is how you deal with it.
Yeah.
When they are coming to you and you thinking, do you really? And that's what it was to me. It didn't really matter.
Well, explain the buzz of fighting, because to me, I'm not really a fighter. So for me, the buzz of fighting, I don't get it. But I know certain.
You're not going to be able to get it because it's stupid. How I explain it, no one else is going to understand it, and it's not worth me trying to make people understand it because it's stupid anyway. But the best way I can put it is, it's a man's thing. It's probably like being a gladiator, and it's like knowing that. I heard someone say in the same statement before. It's like when you like got a firm, especially if you've got like a small firm, and you know what you all stand for, and you know whatever's coming from left to right, no one's going to run.
Yeah.
Because you all stand for the same thing.
It's camaraderie, I suppose.
It's camaraderie, and it stays like that. And like I said, I'm not condoning it in any sort of way. It's that sort of feel you have, and that was my escapism.
Yeah.
And it carried on even with at the height of my career, because it was my I wanted to escape. How I wanted to escape. It's the whole buzz of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the fact that, I'm a successful MC. I'm traveling around the world, blah blah blah. But it's my let off steam. It's how I wanted to like.
But there's always that factor as well. Is that you're bumping into someone? So we're all meeting up down the Wilton or wherever, and you just go down there. Then you go to the game. I've got a spare ticket, and it just sometimes it can just end up as simple as that. You're walking down the road. Someone rushes you, and then
but we didn't used to go to the games.
Well, I was good. Do you know what my next question was? I mean, let's take a Saturday back in the 90s or whatever. Palace win 3-0. You win the punch up after. What is the bigger deal to you?
The punch up.
Palace winning the game.
Punch up.
Yeah, see, that's
Punch
a madness,
up.
isn't it?
Sorry, the punch
Yeah,
up.
no, I
Especially
guess
when-
you would say that.
Yeah, and like I said before, I can't condone things. I'm not going to try and make anybody understand because they're going to probably say, yeah, well, idiot, fool. And you should do.
I've even
Yeah.
highlighted that in the book
You
as well.
should do. And I would say it now. But at that time, the way I thought, the way my mind was, of course to punch up, to get one on.
Didn't even care whether you won or lose, really, at the
Especially if it's
football.
a firm that you know that they think you're a muggy firm.
Yeah.
Mate, it's like having... I can't even say that.
Yeah, I'm glad you self-edited then.
It's probably better than that. And you've heard men put it that...
Yeah. Better than a toe curler, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I've even put in the book that there's 47 50-year-old men
Yeah.
now
There's
that still
yeah.
get nicked for it, and you think, well, why? But it's got to be a chemical thing behind it.
Especially when that firm won't admit it. And there's some firms, let's say Palace, if it was Palace, they won't admit it to you. It doesn't bother me because we know what happens.
Yeah.
Because they can't say, if they say that, they lose all stripes. But to us, we know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother us. You can say, yeah, all we want. We know we had you your toes and then the story.
Yeah. All right. So, did your rave associates know, like people you was working with, like GQs and the Kennys
No,
and whatever?
I
Did
mean,
they know you was running football at the weekend and
No,
fighting and stuff?
if I got close to people, then do you know what? I remember coming from Germany on the plane with Frost. He goes to me, "What are you doing?" I goes, "I'm late. I've got a meeting with QPR." He goes, "What?" I goes, "Yeah, I've got a meeting with QPR." He goes, "You going for a tea?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm good. So I'm getting through Heathrow and I'm getting changed quickly. The phone's going off again. Where are you?" I go, I'm coming. And it's just mad. And he's looking at me going, "What's up with these keys?"
It's like a split personality, isn't it?
This is the thing this is what I'm trying to point in the book, is that from him going on a plane to wanting to get back,
Yeah.
because I think there was a time when he was at Sunrise as well, even leaving Sunrise, he wanted to get back because there was a West Ham game, a pre-season game.
Yeah.
I was like, slow down.
That's crazy. It is like two personas, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got your football man over here and your music man over here, and you keep them apart.
Yeah.
Mad.
And it was like that, unfortunately.
Didn't someone see you? Or DJ saw you as well. Was it Darren J that saw
Darren
you?
J, Vicky.
That's Millwall men, isn't it?
Yeah. Charlton game, yeah, because Charlton are one of our rivals. And they called it on, and that's it. And they were just firming up.
Yeah.
Go, where you going? I was like, "I've got a meeting." Do you know what I mean?
It's funny because I got like a little memorabilia box indoors just last week. I was looking for a rave thing and I found a ticket. It was West Ham Charlton at Selhurst Park,
That's right. Yeah.
91.
Yeah.
I took a photo of it. I thought I'll show you if I
burn
don't
it.
annoy you enough. I know he's gonna say. You didn't like that grand shed? No, not at all.
Do you know what? Just any Charlton fans, I've got no time for them, no respect for them, no nothing. So
That's a deep root.
you want to phone up and say anything, that's up to you. I've got no time for you guys.
It's a football rivalry.
Yeah, that's a proper deep rivalry, that one. All right, so the unravelling of everything. You love the buzz of being the centre of attention and whatever, which we've worked out by now. Let's talk about the drug side of your life for a little while, because you kind of slowly spiralled down into a world which, you know, not many people would understand or know about. So tell us a little bit how you went from being out of the raves to being, you know, a heroin user.
Yeah, absolutely. And this cut it straight. That's exactly what it was. Becoming an addict, becoming a junkie, being addicted to a certain drug. Up to this day, I say to myself, how did I get from there to there? And the only way I can explain it is like when you get into a dark place and something was accidentally there. And it was there. It was not like I want to get out of it. It was there in a big package.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was living a double life and the lies was coming out of my mouth and I was high on another particular drug and I just wanted to come down there. My mind just think, well, if I take that, maybe that might get my mind off that. And I tried, and it was successful. And by the time I knew it, I think one day I went out somewhere and I didn't actually do nothing. And I felt, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel weird? Why do I feel hot and miserable? And I came home and I wrapped one up and smoked, and I was all right. And I thought, oh no, you're joking, really?
It was that.
I'm addicted.
Yeah. So at first you think you can control it, I'm guessing. You think you're on top of it, yeah.
Yeah, you do. And I think the spiral comes when you actually go so deep, because like I said, time's moving, and there's a lot more in the book and it goes into detail, but I think your lowest point, you lose all morality, you lose self-honesty, you lose how to deal with people. You know, you live in a facade.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everything's just like how you want it to be. There's no self-honesty.
We're just focused on getting your next bit. You don't care if
that's
you're
all you
upset
care
and
about.
lie
You
too
have
long.
to.
Yeah.
As soon as you wake up, you've got to take something to get better.
Yeah.
And then all you are doing then is just hustling to know that to get that next fix, to go through that day or to go to another day. So, you know, to your family, to your friends, especially my family, the pain I put them through was unbelievable. To my close friends, the pain I put them through was probably embarrassing but unbelievable. To the girlfriends, to my wife, my ex-wife, it was, you know, the list goes on. It was that bad. And, you know, I can say sorry, but it's whether you mean it or not. And like, it's only when you come out of addiction, you can only say sorry then. There's no point saying sorry when you're addicted because you don't mean none of it. And the amount of times I said sorry, and like you said, you mentioned cried wolf. God, I must have cried so much wolves.
Yeah.
You had a pack of wolves outside my door.
Big bad wolf huffing and puffing.
Yeah, the pack of wolves outside my door. It's like a Game of Thrones.
It's weird as well because at the time he was going through all that, I was sort of like, I'd moved out the area. I've moved out of Croydon now. I'd settled down, and but I still people was ringing me and said, "Your mate's in a bad way." But every time I spoke to him, it was the same old Flux.
So you're hiding it and playing the game well.
And it's hard because like I was giving him the opportunities. You know what I mean? Tell me, is everything cool? I was getting all the stories from people, and I was just saying, "Is he gonna say me anything to me?" And he wasn't saying it. It wasn't.
But it must have been hard. 'Cause it's like people are always worried about the person, but never the fallout.
Yeah.
It must have been hard for you. I mean, look, you've grown up as brothers.
Yeah.
It must have been hard for you watching your closest.
It was as well because I was just hearing it. I was just hearing it because I'd moved. Obviously, I've settled down and I can't be responsible for him, kind of thing. He was married, obviously. And it was just one of them ones, really. There was this time like I was giving him chances, nothing was coming back, and it was
And like you said, it does have a knock-on effect, a domino effect, and I think that and being incarcerated,
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the incarceration in a minute. I just want to mention the Australia thing. Cause, I mean, I respect you so much for just sitting there and talking the stuff. It's not easy to talk about. It's not, and it takes a flipping big set of to sit there. Yeah, it does. Writing it in a book is one thing. Sitting there and saying it live. I respect you so much, Flux, for just talking the things honestly. But Australia, that was when it really kind of unravelled, affected your work and a lot of things. Tell us what happened there.
I had a tour. I like you because that's when I was deep. I shouldn't have gone, and I wasn't set up to go. You know, some people carry stuff to whatever they want to use. I wasn't had enough stuff or whatever. Plus my mind was all over the place, and I had a massive tour with Bailey, and during one state to another state, one city to another city, I was going to become ill, and I did, and I was, Bailey was looking at me going, "What's the matter?" And I think I was nothing. I was deteriorating at a fast level.
Because he didn't know.
And I was deteriorating at a fast level. And by the time we landed in Adelaide, it was. I had really deteriorated. They took me to hospital. They still didn't sure what was wrong, and I came out and said, "Look, I'm addicted to heroin," and shock between the people, and it was just like that. To see people's face, just we didn't know, and what we're gonna do. You got a tour to do, and watching Bailey, who was, he's like, he doesn't know anything about. He's just a straight guy.
Yeah.
So he's ringing up, showing concerns to all these lot, and the promoters going, "We got a massive tour to do, and we still got to get to New Zealand." Obviously, they made a draw that I can't go to New Zealand, but we will look after you in Australia because, believe it or not, Australia has got a massive problem with heroin over there. So they kind of administrated and looked after me in Adelaide in certain ways, got me fixed up better, and I finished up doing certain times, then sent me home.
Come home, yeah.
And I just knew that my ticket's up. This is gonna break out. When, I don't know. How, I don't know, but it's going to. And I think the pinnacle point was I was doing Opera House.
Yeah.
And seeing Kevin Hype.
Yeah.
And then coming up to me and goes, boy, I've heard some things about you, Flux. What's going on? And I'm looking at him thinking, here we go. What am I going to say now? Yeah. And that was it, yeah.
I suppose once that comes out, you're kind of blacklisted, and people don't want to work.
It still took a few years, though, I think, to get to that.
Do you know what? I said this before. I'm going to say it again. No one was indirectly disrespectful to me, but the big ups and so much of the fives, and the nod of the head wasn't so much. And maybe that's all right. People, it's a loads of perception of it. Yeah. It's what it is, and so how people perceive it.
Yeah. Well, guys, listen, if you want to read the full in-depth, and like I say, there's no holds barred in the book, then you need to get your hands on the book Dirty, and you can read the whole, the ups and the downs of this little period of Flux's life. But let's move on, because we've got good times to come still. But, how you turned it around, you got caught up in a much publicised hooligan event, Sydenham 2007 on the train with some Charlton fans, ended up getting you incarcerated. The media made up some lies, made it sound worse than what it was. Exactly. But it ended up with you in prison, lowest of the low. I mean, tell us how you made your comeback from, you're a drug addict in prison. How do you come back from that, Flux?
Basically, some guy...
William Barrett, was it?
Thank you.
Yes. He forgets the names.
It just paid attention to me with my probation report, read all about me, saw my, said, you're not supposed to be here. Saw how I was, so you're not like these other guys. I think there's a place for you to go and learn about yourself and to make yourself a pro-social person.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I went to this place where life as well, behavioural problems were, anger problems were, and I worked on myself, and it changed my life. It changed my whole perception, the whole view of life, and how a pro-social person should be in life. They should carry yourself. And if you are honest, from when you say, like, I'm sorry, I'll put your hands up and take responsibility, people can deal with you. Whether they take you or not, at least they know that, okay, look, at least I know you deal with you. When you lied, people don't know how to deal with you. And I didn't understand that. And this place made me understand certain things in life. Just like my family. Like my brother now, me and my brother are very close now in a certain ways. My sister as well, mainly all of us, because, they know how to deal with me now. Before, I was lying, they didn't know how to deal with you. And it was due to this place from William Barrett and this training and this place where I don't work to myself, what made me see and open my eyes.
Yeah. You owe a lot to William then, isn't it? He was a big helping turn in your life.
Massive turning point.
The homies are getting down there to do a little talk thing down there.
Yeah, they're gonna want me to do that, because obviously not coming back from the book, because obviously they work on you and you work on yourself and you learn about yourself. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's hard, because when you're in that box, it's hard to get out of the box. You have to really believe it. It's called blind faith, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, do you know, I mean, look, we're here now because of the book. This is what's brought us together today. Whose idea was the book? I mean, whose idea was the book first? It didn't really come off of an idea. He wrote me the letter when he was in the prison. And I just said it to him because I knew what had gone on, and I just thought, you got the 3 years, do you know what I mean? Just get it around in your head. It's only really about 2011 when we really started sitting down thinking about it, and I just started writing it. There was another book that I talked to someone on Facebook, I think it was. He was doing a book about clubbing in London, so I gave sort of like Fluxy's story of the ecstasy days kind of thing in that book there, and I just wrote it from that book, wrote it around it sort of thing. Just went back to the 80s and started coming back. Was it a bit like a kind of therapy, getting it all out again from the beginning to the end?
Yeah, it was hard, because some of the dark places, it was hard for me to actually think about it again.
It's
that was
from
hard
the
to do
heart, man, that book. You could tell.
That was hard. Like I said, I said to Peter, look, there's no point getting above it. Just tell it the way it is, tell it real. And if people don't respect, don't like it, whatever. It's not there for me to go high. Yeah. I can write a book and say, hi, I've been MC, I travelled this world, I've done this, I've seen that gig, I met that person, done that, I've done this and that. What's the point? Everybody's done that.
Yeah.
I want to give something back, and this is why I do now, give something back. Tell us to life to say, listen, if you go down this road, there's going to be repercussions of the way you live your life. And so what's wrong with not me putting it down and telling people, you know what, there's no point in me saying that, how successful I was at MC, it's gone. that was my past, I enjoyed it. But if you live your life a certain way, this is what could be the knock-on effect of your life. And that's what I want to put down into writing. And Peter helped me put that into writing. Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah. I think going through it as well, we didn't want to push it out like we was going to give it to publishers and say, so we're under pressure to finish it. So that's why it took over the 4 years to do it. So we just sat down with people, recording it. And I just sort of like, we just done it in our own time that I could just go through chapters, redo chapters and stuff like that. And then bring it out like how we've done it.
Well, I've sat there this week. I got sent it by you guys a few weeks ago, and I thought I'll read it in the run up to the interview, so I'm fresh with it in my mind. And I swear I sat there for a whole day. Well, when I spoke to you, I blanked your call because I was in. I couldn't look away with the book for a minute. No, I swear, because I had to finish the chapter because I didn't want to lose. And then I rung him back, but. It's a really good book, guys, and I'm not just saying that because I was in it, and I said a minute ago, I respect your honesty.
Thank you.
You've told it from the heart, and it is gritty, real. It's as real as it gets.
Yeah.
The highs and the lows. Yeah. So, all right. So nowadays, I mean, we'll talk about the Rave in a minute. What are you doing right this second? Though I know you're not living in the manor no more. You're kind of what are you doing?
I'm like I've adopted Scouser now. Yeah, I'm up in Liverpool. I do a lot of volunteering. I work with homeless people, and I train to become a care worker, support worker, and not only that, vulnerable adults, and it's just awareness, and I love it.
Yeah.
Do you know, I haven't got the most money in the world now, but I want to wake up. I wake up with a smile.
I can see it on your face.
I don't care what anyone says. It's a little smile you have. Don't get me wrong, you have days because I'm lonely, but to know that if you get through to somebody who's having a hard time or understands, and you feel their empathy, you feel what they're going through, and you feel like, I understand what you're going through. But, if you have some blind faith, I'm not asking you to go to church and praise God, just have some blind faith, because pro-social life is a good thing. Do you know what I mean? And if you get through that way, it's excellent. And I'm happy.
What a beautiful way to finish it. I swear, guys, read the book, and you will see the journey, and you'll see how nice it is. For me, I get choked up looking at you being like this, because it means a lot to see that you've come through it, and you're giving something back now, Flux, and that's what more can you give back than
I'm just trying.
Knowledge? You know what I mean?
I'm just trying. Like I said before, I mean, with a lot of help from family and good friends like the guy to my right, Pierre, I couldn't do it every day, and still these two helps me to this day. I'm not trying to say it's brilliant, it's a bunch of roses. I still have hard days, but
yeah, man.
Trying.
All good. All right, so tonight, I mean,
Brixton Jam.
Let's talk about Brixton Jam tonight quickly. The book launch. Tonight
is the book launch. Like I said, it's Uncle IB's treating it and put it on Facebook. One for the Ravers. It is one for the Ravers. It's a choice of my sort of DJs who inspiration to me, and who I think is going to give something back to the people, and just bringing you later as a special guest. What you do for ravers, for listeners, is something else. Because I've been asking, and the people out there, you've got so much love out there, and I'm just privileged that you're coming to play.
Listen, the honour's all mine.
Honestly,
I've started blushing now.
It's down
You're trying to fold me in, and
down Brixton Jam tonight.
Yes,
please, ravers, come and absolutely have a party.
And don't forget the book. Amazon.co.uk.
Yes, give them the lineup, Pete, for tonight as well. We got that in front of you, have you?
Hang on, I did have it in front of me.
He's got a laptop. He ain't even looking at nothing on that. What's he looking at?
We've got Fabio and Groove Rider, Randall back to back with Bailey, Mickey Finn, Brian G, Jumping Jack Frost. Chef, Uno, you got MCs Fearless, Flux, Fun Stuff, Five Alive, Moose, Melody, Deefa, and you got him, DJ H.
No, not only that, we've got the special guest, the Reggae Twins, back to back with Mickey Finn, with Doug's tonight. That's a special guest.
That's right.
Looking forward to it.
Can we just say where to get the book from?
Of course you can, mate. Yeah, we've got a minute and a half to do whatever you like.
Amazon.co.uk. So look for Dirty. When you read it, leave your reviews, because that Amazon helps when you get the reviews on there. So Amazon.co.uk. Search for Dirty by MC Flux, and you'll get your copy.
Special shout out to the author.
Because we've been getting a lot of advice of people. I've got Stuart Deeble who's done a book. Also, a lady called Vina Jackson who's been helping us as well.
Yes.
And our PR mastermind Michael Verdict.
Yep. And they've been absolutely for PR management team. Yeah, mastermind.
Wicked.
PR team.
Well, guys, I couldn't have asked for a better interview and a better ending to Wicked Story. And thank you so much for coming up. see you at the party tonight. I'm already smiling.
Love
a
to
bit.
my
Been a pleasure,
family as
been a
well.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Go
Yeah.
down to my family as well.
See everybody
Okay.
tonight.
And see everybody tonight, 22nd Brixton Jam. You're going to be there. Uncle Doug's, oh my God. With the Ragga Twins, Mickey Fincher.
He got into MC mode there at the end. So we're finished now. I mean, we've got 30 seconds left. The tuna left to play at the end, Goldie's State of Mind, because you're in a better state of mind now than you probably ever have been in your life. So we're finishing with this.
Thank you, sir.
Guys, have a blinding weekend. Hopefully we'll see you tonight. If not, I'll see you over at Bunters 25 tomorrow at Union. If I don't see you at either, have a great weekend. I'll see you back here next Friday. Keep it rinsed. Sam Supplier up after the ads. Peace. We out. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rinse.